It's not scuffed. No one was talking, chat. No one was talking, chat. I just fixed my microphone. Nobody said anything, so it's not scuffed. Hello and welcome, everybody, to the Aegis Esports Glory and Navori Playoffs Bracket Reveal Show. I'm Headmaster Red, and I'm joined with, 4 lovely guests. And I'll start with Tibu. Hello, Tibu. How are you doing?
Hey, Red. I'm great. Thank you for the invitation, and I'm very glad to be here with this distinguished guest also.
Okay, great. Dr. Chekhov, how's it going?
Hello. I'm very happy to be here as well. I'm sorry that I also have a bit of a scuffed microphone situation, but very happy to be here, represent RPG, and pick some teams.
Okay, great. M-Tux, how's it going?
Yeah, it's going good. Had a good week on the play-ins, and now, or I guess in the seedings or whatever. Now happy to pick some teams. So right there with Chekhov.
Okay, and last but certainly not least, Teptricity. How's it going, Teptricity?
Hello, it's going pretty well right now. Happy to represent the other half of ABG here. So ready to get this rolling.
Wait, my mic is scuffed. What the? All right. We're just going to roll with it, guys. So, in case you don't know how this show works, we are going to have each of the 8 teams that were in the seeding Swiss come and pick their opponent live. And, well, not live. They picked it beforehand. But we'll reveal it live and can talk about what we thought about the pick and how we're feeling going into it. Okay, so, obviously, we got to start with the first seed after the seeding Swiss, ABG Piltover, Teptricity. How did you feel about the seeding Swiss? Just tell me how you felt about the seeding Swiss.
Yeah, so this has actually been a rather special occasion because, I wasn't really able to compete much because I was going off of, college, so afterwards being able to come in finally and be ready to represent ABG and quickly work with the team and get back into Runeterra, it felt really refreshing to return to it because I think a lot of times you can end up being like super tilted and being like out of your mind, like why the hell do I ever want to do this again? And it's like it's good to be back in such a refreshing time right now. So the 6-0 was definitely scuffed. I was surprised rolling into it too when we were in the group session, but props to Lear and Majestic for being a part of it, and Lear just being superbly cracked as our manager. So I gotta give the props where it's due.
Okay, perfect. So do you want to go ahead and announce who your first pick was?
I guess I can. So for our pick, we selected Crowstorm
for the first pick. And on Crowstorm, we have Rav, Lucky, Snowy, and not Teptricity. I don't know why it says Teptricity. But
oh, look. Hey, y'all. As you can see, I'm going to be the ABG killer as well.
Yeah, exactly. So tell me why you picked this team while I fix this.
So as you can see, I can play both sides here. That's the best opportunity. I'm right here at the other side, and I can tell Piltover what they have to do, and tell Crowstorm what they have to do, and watch the mutual destruction. So that's like my favorite part about this.
Okay.
For real purposes, I think this will be a very interesting lineup overall, and knowing that this group is known to bring more, like I've noticed some control-y lineups, some more trying to really hone down the board. I think there's going to be an interesting use of what we can bring to the table and how exactly we can respond to that. I'm down to just, again, take part in the mutual destruction.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Now, just quick question. Crowstorm did go ahead and, take out 2 ABG teams. Are you worried that they might take out a third?
Well, as you can see, since I can call them the ABG killer.
Right.
I think there's, so as you can see, this time we know what's up, and this time things are going to be a little bit a teensy bit different. I have a feeling that this time we, as the like top seeding ABG team, and we're gonna ride that high. I believe that we're going to be able to take it on with just complete fervor. So, absolutely.
Okay. How does everybody else feel about this matchup? Yeah, let's start with M-Tux.
Yeah, I kind of expected Pro to get picked pretty early. I was really hoping they wouldn't, but alas. So yeah, no, I think this makes sense. I think it should be a fun round one.
Okay, Tibu, you saw two of your ABG teams go down to this team, and now you're seeing a third one pick into it. How are you feeling about this?
Well, I think that it also had to do with what happened in the first round, where two ABG teams had to eliminate each other. So I think it worked bad for the mental state probably of Tyrone also, that was let them down, and it really felt bad for them, and probably also their mindset wasn't like where we're supposed to, and it also affect them also when they were playing for the last game, right, where it was against Crowdstorm. And I mean, we respect all players, and I also try to tell everyone and teach everyone in ABG that we must respect every player, every team, because everyone is there for a purpose, and they are in the playoffs because of a reason. So we don't overlook them, but as we were making the analysis with Lear and the opinions about why we should pick these teams, statistically was like more in favor of what it falls for the gameplay of ABG picked over than the other two teams that were our choices. Okay, that's why.
Okay. And last but certainly not least, Chekhov. How do you feel about this matchup? Especially because you didn't even pick Crow. Your team didn't even pick Crow.
Well, I think we weren't allowed to, right?
Oh, that's right. You're right. That makes more sense. But how do you feel about this matchup?
Well, actually, the reason we didn't pick Crow is because we're terrified of them, and we're looking forward to meeting them in semis. So that's how I feel this whole arc of the bracket's going to go.
Okay. All right. Interesting. So, expecting some early shakeups here. But now that we've seen the first matchup, let's go ahead and jump into our second seed, Bass Pro Shops, M-Tuck. How did you feel about the seeding, Swiss? And how do you feel about your season overall?
Seeding Swiss felt really good. It was just me and Kaido, because Seth and Cash were both busy, so we duoed it, and we had like a pretty free run until the last run. The last map we went undefeated in games until up against ABG Piltover, and then Shen J4 did the Shen J4 thing where it just didn't draw any sort of curve or units. It was pretty bad, and that went poorly quickly. But it's fine. Second's cool. So that was a good thing overall. And then as far as like the overall like groups, we didn't do as good as I expected us to do. I actually expected us to get like one or two more wins. So I'm actually like I'm hungry for more. I'm hungry to do better.
Okay. And to kind of prove that hunger, do you want to go ahead and let us know who you picked?
Yeah, we picked the TKG. So, Team Kinku Guild? Tactical Kinku
Guild. Right. From Group 3. And Tactical Kinku Guild does consist of Iglufu, Wild West Wild, Sauron 379, and God Draw. So, tell me why you picked this team.
Because the rest of my team wanted to pick this team.
Okay.
Like basically, we were like, Crow was our first pick, and we were between this team and one of the Big Fish gaming teams, and we kind of decided we felt that this team had worse players, but the other team was better. Like we could read into them better, and I was like, I prefer to play against better players than I can read, but everyone else was like, no, we want to play against the worst players, so we're playing against the worst players.
Okay. Funnily enough, TKGO wasn't actually picked very highly by a lot of teams, just like a handful, but because you picked them second, they went a lot earlier than they probably would have in general. So that's pretty interesting. So you obviously think you're favored in this matchup. How does everybody else feel about this matchup? Tibu? How do you feel?
Yeah.
Just anybody really.
Yeah, I mean, actually, TKG was the other choice we had in mind. Mm-hmm. As I said, but as I said, statistically for Victoria was more advantageous to face Crowstorm, and also like there's a kind of vendetta in the mind of Lear. So, and I mean, tactical Kinku, like I said previously, will respect every team, every player, but we had a healthy rivalry with TKG, AVG, and got a little bit of the upper hand. That also, it's true that these players are not well known, and probably that's why you should probably overlook them. But I don't know, they are here because of something. So come in the play-ins, we can have surprises. We already had great surprise. Remember in season 1, the team that reached the finals, that no one knew them. So anyone can be in the finals. So it's I know I don't want to overlook anyone, but this was probably the second choice we had also, but we didn't pick them.
Okay. Chekhov, this was your team's first pick. So do you think they're the easiest team in the tournament?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that the TKG team is, they're all made of good players. You can't be like not a good player and be already at this point in Aegis. But we felt that they were probably the weakest. They have a lot of players who've been around the scene for a while, but haven't necessarily proved themselves with any major like tournament victories or anything. Goddraw is a very good player, but my information is that he's playing Flesh and Blood mostly this season. So we also thought that it would be great to go against TKG.
Okay. And Taptricity, do you see any upsets on this horizon, or is it going to be all chalk for you, all BPS?
I think it's all good here. We do tend to have a rivalry with TKG, but lending them out to somebody else is going to make this pretty entertaining.
Okay.
However, I will say, I know somebody else who is also a Fab player, and Fab players sometimes the tools that Fab teaches you sometimes can be very applicable to other card games. So, not to take anything down, just. It's definitely going to be a really interesting lineup. A lot of players who I know on both sides. So, there'll be some really interesting things going on here.
Okay. Cool. On that note, let's get into our third seed. We don't have a representative for this team, but it's Team Random Object Names. And on Team Random Object Names, we have Monte Cristo, Swiffer, Donut, and Jansports. And this team, they had to beat RPG twice in the seeding Swiss. Chekhov, do you have any comment about this team?
They're a good team. They brought a good lineup. I mean, I was also playing solo when we brought Lurk, so like I can definitely talk about like why that might have happened. But they're a very solid team. I expect them to do well.
Okay, great. And they have chosen Big Fish Gaming Marlin. So, to me, that's a little unexpected, because some would think that BFGB would be the weaker team. But BFG Marlin does have Lied, Goofy, Osioros, and U-Stunned. How do we feel about this pick?
This one's
a very
interesting
pick.
Go ahead.
Marlin was doing well in their group. And I know that these players, they haven't necessarily won a ton of like tournaments and stuff, but they're all solid and they're all like very into the game right now.
Yeah, my team was basically looking at like the lowest 5 teams to try to figure out like who we would end up taking. And Marlin versus Bass was like a thing that we had to consider. Both have like one player who's just like insanely good on their team. Marlin being Lied and Basting Alexander. The difference is Light is playing good decks and Alexander's playing Insult. So like, you kind of look at Light and go, that's a scary team. Like they got the Iron Man format really like benefits having individual play, and I think Light can like carry this team to do it, have a good upset or two.
Okay, let's remove the BFG teams from the situation. Is there anyone you would pick besides BFG Marlin? Or is it like if you remove Bass from the situation, right? Which they obviously had to because they're in the same group. Is Marlin the next choice for you guys?
That's a debate and a half.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's what we're here for, right? So.
That's hard because probably, but I'm not happy about it.
Okay, I gotcha. All right, cool. Anyone else have thoughts on this matchup, Tron versus BFG Marlin?
Well, as I told you, the analysis we made is that the weakest was first TKG, then come Crowdstorm, then the two fishes. That's Bass and Marlin. The least weak was Marlin actually for us. The weakest of them was Bass. But as someone else mentioned, they statistically they had a bit more of an advantage on the solo queue on the format that's coming on the next week. So they didn't want to face it also. And of course, coming from this peak on, there are not like weak teams, let's say per se. So it's of course we do as the first picks. I think that Victor wanted to pick the weakest of the lot, and there were not much actually. So the four weakest is, as I say, it's the Crowston, TKG, and the two fishes team.
Okay. Any other thoughts, or we could just move on to RPG?
I think I'll just I think this group of players, what's really good about Aegis here is that, like, if you don't have that tournament record, this is still like an amazing opportunity to prove yourself and get yourself out there. So I'm really eager to see Tron taking on Marlin and discovering, how exactly can these players, work upon themselves and, get that recognition.
Okay, good to know. Now, for our fourth seed, we have Red Pup Games. So, Chekhov, tell me how you were feeling about this season overall, and maybe tell me a little bit about your team.
Well, we're feeling pretty good about the season. We had a nice group. It was fun to win. I'm feeling pretty good personally. I don't know. It's been a nice season so far. I'm looking forward to playoffs. I'm looking forward to our opponents. What can I say?
Okay. Cool. And do you want to go ahead and tell us who you've decided to pick this time?
Well, I'm pretty sure if I'm doing the math right,
I can. If you want, I can DM you.
I'm pretty sure that we've picked Chip.
Yep, Church of Targon.
Yep.
So give me a little bit of insight on why you picked Church of Targon.
Well, we thought it might be nice to give the other teams a bit of a break and take them out of the rotation. We feel very comfortable in this matchup, and we also just love to give ourselves a challenge whenever possible. So that was kind of the idea.
Okay. So not like you think that they're easy or anything. You just wanted a challenge. Makes sense.
No, I mean, they're all good players. I mean, I know that maybe Next Time doesn't really play the game anymore, so that's kind of an issue. But other than that, I mean, they're certainly players that we respect and think we'll have good games with. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else have thoughts on this chip selection?
Well, actually, it surprises me a bit. I mean, I know that Red Pups are, and I got to say that the way it is, they are the dogs to beat here in Aegis this season. And of course, why not? They are the reigning champions, right? But also, Chip is the former reigning champion. So, and they still pretty much almost the same player, almost. But I mean, yes, as Chekhov said, yeah, maybe next time it's not in rhythm, but the other three, they are pretty much in the scene and they are pretty much crack players. So it surprised me, but I understand they probably want to. They probably have the same way of thinking that maybe Noxus has. That you need to be the best, you need to beat the best, or what to play around it. And it doesn't surprise me because they have the tools and skill to. I mean, I think that if they take out Chip, probably they think that their path will be like easier to, right?
No, that makes sense. Get the hard opponents out of the way early. Anybody else have any thoughts on this? Maybe MTux?
Yeah, thanks for making my side of the bracket easier. I was fully expecting them to be like between them and ABG Nox for my round of 8. So you definitely helped me out. I think it's interesting because like there's not too many teams that I'd be like it makes sense to play the Chip. Like the matchups make sense. Chip has like a specific style of deck. RPG is that team that I think they do really well into teams that have a specific style of deck because RPG is quite flexible in their deck picks. So where I would usually think Chip has like game into pretty much any team, I think this is going to be like a 3-0, 3-1. I think this is going to be ugly.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Damn. Okay. Taptricity, any thoughts on this match?
Yeah, Chekhov, you hit the nail on the head. This like Red Pup versus Chip, these are all players who I immediately recognized, who I hold a lot of respect for and love seeing them in the scene. I think this is definitely going to be the bout of this round, with all these recognizable people. And just overall seeing how both players are going to take it or both teams are going to take it to the helm. Good luck to both of you, both of your teams. This is going to be a wild ride, so very excited.
Okay, great. I'm glad everyone's so excited for this matchup, and it might end up being the stream matchups. I have hash spamming my caster chat that's the one we should watch. So we'll see how that goes. But next, for the 5th seed, we have the main Pirates. And just to publicly shame Spids, she definitely could have came on the show and declined. Come on, Spids, what's up with that? But on the main Pirates, we have Spids, Romoprof, and Gemsy, a team that has surprised a lot of people. I would say has anybody been impressed by their performance so far? Not everyone at once.
they had because they were in the group of life, right? Like they were, or well, sorry, I don't want to be totally toxic, but the sort of kind of group of life. And so like that, them winning that like just made sense. Like Spitz is a really good player, and she speak for herself here in a moment. So like she's a good player. The rest of the team is like fairly solid. So it kind of made sense for them to top it. And yeah, I think they've done well. They've done what's expected, and I'm looking forward to seeing them in the top in the playoffs. Okay,
and we have a surprise guest, Spids, here. Hey, Spids, how's it going?
Well, I've been recently cyberbullied into joining a witch chat that I didn't want to join, but like 6 people have now said join, so here I am. I'm feeling very cyberbullied, but besides that, I'm feeling pretty good.
Okay, welcome indeed. How did you feel about your season?
I think I talked about this last week. I think our season felt pretty fine. A lot of our weeks have either felt really good or really bad. So our first 2 weeks we had a lot of good lineup preparation. Last 2 weeks not as much because I've been busy and so have my teammates. So we've just brought like Aatrox every time and then lost because Aatrox isn't that good, at least at my skill level. So I think we've been doing okay. This week we'll have a lot more time to play the video game and like prep. So I'm much happier about this week compared to prior weeks, like the coming up games.
Okay, great. And do you want to go ahead and actually do you know who you picked? Because it's been a little bit.
I'm pretty certain.
I'll just DM it to you real quick. So do you want to go ahead and announce who it is?
We have apparently chosen BFGB, which is otherwise just called Bass, which is what I would normally call that team. But yeah, we chose Bass.
Big Fish Gaming Bass. And on this team we have Moth, Mazaza, Shirokuro, and Alexander. So tell me why you had them You have them listed here as your third team after Marlin and Crow. So tell me why you put them there.
I recognize Maz and Chirokuro as players that we fought last season, and they were very fun to fight, and I have some experience with what sort of decks they like to bring. I quite respect Alexander, but at this point, all the teams you're going to find, and Moth as well, all the teams you're going to find are going to have like one or two like really, really good players that I think are very scary. Maz and Chirokuro are good as well, but I've fought them multiple times. I know what sort of lineups they're about to bring, and so I think this just made sense to pick into rather early.
Okay. Anybody else have any thoughts on this matchup? The main Pirates versus BFG Bass.
Think I can go?
Yes.
A group of players who I definitely recognize will be good to see. Specifically, a year ago in that Aegis, part of Icy Gaming, I recall being Moth's teammate for a sec, and now I do know his capability. It's a team with a lot of like players that know that they need to like bring decks that they're comfortable with, certain just lineups. So we'll see exactly what they can bring to the table this go around. So yeah.
Okay, great. Anybody else's thoughts on this?
So, Spids, did you just get the group of life again, like with the first round pick? I mean, I'm not saying these players aren't bad, but it's kind of crazy. You had picked what, fourth or fifth seed, I guess, and then got BFG Bass, which I think a lot of people were thinking was like, one of the weaker teams here. So that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I got quite lucky because besides Crowstorm, which I think everyone had first, all the other teams I had after Bass, I think. Maybe I had one other team before Bass, but like two of the picks really surprised me, the Chip and the Igloo Foo team. I thought they would go a little bit later than they did. So yeah, I got quite lucky. Again, I know the round after this will be a lot of a unbalanced matchup, like Chip or Red Pups versus like, Swashbuckler Zombie from Plants vs. Zombies, or like a fish. I think like dogs and dragons are going to be better than these things. So at least like I've got it fine now. Next round will be scarier for sure.
Okay. I like your reasoning. It's based on the animals depicted in the logo. Okay. Anybody else have any thoughts on this before we move on to Mastering Runeterra's pick?
No, just quickly. I mean that. As she said that they were lucky, and I'm glad for them, especially that they're players that have faced it before and they know how they play. So I think they had an advantage here, right?
Yeah, makes sense. Perfect. Okay. Now on to Mastering Runeterra Tryhards, our sixth seed. They don't have a representative here, but their team does consist of Prodigy, the Tank Buster, Kevor, and Santa TCG. Anybody have any thoughts on this team? Also, Hash, welcome.
Hi, I have been inspired by Spitz to speak up against my cyberbully, Red.
Okay. Does anybody have any thoughts on Mastering Runeterra Tryhards?
If you had asked me how I would thought they would, if you asked me how I thought they would do in the beginning of the season, I would have said extremely highly. But if you ask me now, Prodigy's like a fad game. Like, he's not really playing the video game right now.
Right.
Tank just like team shifted, so he doesn't even like this team anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you basically just have Kever and Santa, like, and Kever like works all the time, so he doesn't play the video game. So it's just Santa. So I don't know. We'll see.
So they're what you're saying is they're not really tryhards, and their name is kind of a lie.
Yeah, their name's totally a lie.
Okay.
I do think that Santa can absolutely just 3-0 teams, by the way. And if the one thing that's good about this team, right, is that, sorry, I shouldn't say the one thing. Oh my goodness. One thing that this team does really well is they can prep, right, and then give that prep to somebody like Kever, right, who maybe doesn't have time to play, or maybe Kever does all the prep. I actually don't know. They're all very good. They can give each other prep, and then they can be ready to play and play at very, very high skill levels pretty quickly, right? So even though they don't have very much time, I do think that they will try hard in that. Certainly, like during the match, they're going to play very well. So, and
but
Tank is incredible.
Tank will sabotage them. Tank will sabotage them. That's fine.
They are on opposite sides of the bracket, so if we were going to see any sabotage, it would be in the finals, right?
You think it was a coincidence? You think it was a coincidence?
Okay. On that note, going into Mastering Runeterra Tryhard's pick, they have chosen Targon's Valley. And on Targon's Valley, we have Stolen Conch, Vengevine, Griff, and Dragon. How do we feel about this pick and this team?
Well, Kever and Conch just bet like $50 against each other to see who would go farther. So that bet's gonna end real quick, one way or the other.
Cool. Very cool. Very cool.
I'm not gonna lie. I think Valley is straight up just favored here.
Okay. Interesting. And what makes you think that?
Bro, I think Kever is gonna go like 8 hours trying to prepare for what Conch is gonna bring and still fail.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have any
the
thoughts?
Reason why,
Also,
the reason why nobody picks Targon's Valley, right?
like MRT has Prodigy, so like they'll just lose.
Okay. Go ahead, Jacob.
I just didn't feel like I was talking enough trash, I guess. Nobody wanted to pick Targon's Valley, and here's the reason, right? Nobody wants to prepare against Conch. Nobody wants to deal with the kind of stuff that this team can come up with, because this is a team that is greater than the sum of its parts. And the sum of its parts is pretty good. They have good players, but as a team, they have been playing in this league for, I think, a couple of different seasons now, and they always overperform because they are really like in tune with each other. They're doing lots of prep. They're having like interesting takes and interesting decks. And I think that nobody wanted to pick them partially just because it's going to be so hard to prep for them.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
I do think that as correct as Mastering Maru are, I mean, for us, for me, I think that with no disrespect with about talks about Red Pops is the first one, and then Bass Pro and Maru are like in the are just a tad about below them, and then Targon Party probably is out there. So are the top dogs on Aegis, but I think Maru is a little bit more predictable, and Targon Valley doesn't. They can adapt their play style, how they prepare each week, and that will surprise probably Mastering Runeterra because they won't know what to prepare for. And this is going to be as much as it's going to be a fight for the ages in the round one for Red Pop against Church of Targon. This is going to be the fight for the ages for round one and in the other side of the bracket, you know.
Okay. Yeah. No, that makes sense. You think this is like the premier matchup on the right side? Okay.
As much as Chekhov said that they overperform, I don't disagree. But when your overperform is 8th, that's not looking too hot. Like that's not a good overperform. So we'll see. We'll see how this plays out.
Okay, a little bit of spice there. On that note, let's jump over into our 7th seed.
Here we go.
ABG Noxus. On ABG Noxus, we have Arax, Rogio, Chelu, and Chinos. So, Tibu, tell me a little bit about this team and their season so far.
Well, I think we are. As I mean, I don't play in there, but I am with them all the time, every time. And I think we were supposed to be since the first season. We underperformed in 2 following seasons then. And so we had a chip on our shoulders this season. And we have proved our worth. So we qualified directly to playoffs. I know that to be in the 7th seed doesn't look like good, but to be honest, and not to be offensive to other teams, our focus was in the next week. This week was more than to try to probably prepare for the Open for the players, and because the objective was already reached, that was direct qualified to playoffs, so we can focus on something else. But the Open is over. We are full business mode now for the next week, and so far for the players, well, I think we some of them have end up in a high note. I mean, qualified to Aegis playoffs. Cello and Chinos, they qualified just to the Open. and they are streaking, so they are ready and ready to prove their worth.
Okay, I love that rundown. It was really comprehensive and actually a little bit inspiring. I'm not gonna lie. So, on that note, let me. You already know who you picked, right? We're late into the show, so I want to make sure that you know. But I sent it to you just in case. Do you want to go ahead and announce who you've chosen for ABG Noxus?
For the pick of ABG Noxus, we have picked Team Space Poggers.
Okay. Team Space Poggers, and their team consists of James F., Hawk362, Methodical, and Filthy Gamer Weeb. Now, I'm looking here, and that is your next to last pick. What made the team so worried about picking Space Poggers?
No, we're not worried about picking Space Poggers.
Okay. Why did you put him so low then, I guess is the question.
No, I mean, it's... there's no other team to pick left besides them. Well, there are only two teams. So, like I said, leaving aside and no disrespect to the teams I already said that probably they are not the strongest. Leaving aside them, I think that Church of Targon, and the Targon teams, I think were the strongest of the lot. And then it came Space Poggers, and following the reasoning that also Red Bot Gaming had, and I already said that to be the best, we need to beat the best. So for us, this was the best team that was left, and we need to face the strongest and to prove ourselves that we can take this challenge and take the next one. Okay, that's why we thought,
Okay, great. Anybody else have any thoughts about this matchup?
Definitely. I can go ahead and say that Team Space Poggers has one player who was arguably the best in the AM server at one point, and that's Filthy Gamer Weeb. When TF Fizz was tier 1, he was probably the best player. And so he's, kind of been in and out of the game since then, picked it up a little more, played it a little less, various points. And during the first week of Aegis, I think he brought like a mono Jinx deck, and I think he went like 0-2 or something. And we kind of thought, okay, Filthy Gamer Weeb, he's not really doing well. It'll be all right. He's still, he's washed up. It's no problem. Then he started to play real decks, and he started to do better, not just in Aegis, but also he just like top 16'd, I think, right? Like, if this guy's on real decks, he's terrifying. So that combined with James's prep, and of course James, is going to leak all RPG prep too, so we can't possibly have him on our side of the bracket. I guess I figured that it would be better to keep TSP as far away from us as possible. And I understand why they were picked last. They're a strong team.
Okay, great. Anybody else have any thoughts on TSP versus ABG Noxus?
Yeah, I think this is interesting. So we had, I don't know if it was last season or the season before, but we had TSP in one of our groups in one of the last seasons, and they didn't perform that great. But as Chekhov said, that was when FGW was like on kind of a not playing point. FGW is definitely the one to watch. I will say I'm much happier to have TSP on this side of the bracket than Duck, mostly because Duck is consistent. TSP is inconsistent, and I'd rather face a team that goes up and down a lot when they've got to go through something to get to me than Duck, who's just consistently a solid team. So I'm happy that you guys picked this team because I think it makes my side of the bracket easier.
Okay.
I'm happy you picked this team because it makes my side of the bracket easier.
You're not even playing.
Oh yeah, special guest Salty Simon has arrived. Mtux, you did mention you're worried about having Duck on your side of the bracket. We can always kind of figure out who Duck is playing now, but are you really not worried about anyone else on your side of the bracket, or at least in your quadrant?
I mean, ABG Noxus is there. I can't
Right,
I don't
right.
get influence on that one. the other two, like, we get to pick into them, and so they were like unknown factors, and I'm pretty happy with how the two unknowns shaked out.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
pretty happy there. As far as like ABG Nox, we played against them last season, and we basically went like 50-50. Like we made it out of groups and they didn't, but like because we got lucky, we didn't like beat them to get out of groups. They lost to another team to get us out of groups.
Right.
So it's not really we're 50-50 into them as far as how that matchup would play out. Although I will say I think our team has improved since last season. Picking up Cephalopod, man's goated. So we'll see how this goes.
Okay. All right. On that note, let's jump to our 8th and final seed, BBBSS. Salty Simon, would you like to tell us about your team, how you did this season, and how you're feeling going into the next stage of playoffs?
We obviously did great, right? We went 8-1 in
Right.
groups,
Mm-hmm.
but that was kind of expected, I think. Unless you're Mo and Drisov. But then, the Swiss happened. We went 0-3. But I feel like Biotac was the only one that cared about the Swiss. I was playing while BB was playing the other, and I was playing while watching One Piece, so it was not too expected.
Okay.
And I have no idea who we picked, so that's also very exciting.
Okay. Is it true that Baya played from jail? Just for clarification.
The Open? Yes.
Okay.
From phone. And he made top 16. But that's insane. All of us made day 2. Like 2 was top 8 and 1 top 16. We are kind of cracked.
Okay. All right. Yeah, it's pretty correct. Since there's only one team left, your team has chosen Duck Peak as their opponent.
We need to get the shoes, though.
Yeah. Well, you were forced to choose Duck Peak as your opponent. So, you had Duck Peak has Quaco, Rusticles, XDSCMX, and Vinicius Luggy. How are you feeling going into this match?
Wait, this is the last pick?
Yeah.
We got the free win. What?
I know.
We got rewarded for going 0-3? Oh my god. No, this is so nice.
Okay.
Baya, I see you in Twitch. This is why we don't care about seeding. We get 100 free wins anyway.
Respect.
I think Quark is the only good player there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess Rust is
Rusticles is the best player on that team.
Yeah, Rusticles also kind of nice. Quark and Rusticles, but that two I don't know.
Okay.
XDS is like doing great in Aegis specifically. I don't know outside of Aegis, but in Aegis prior to this, so like in the entirety of last season, he went undefeated. And then this season, I'm fairly certain that my team's the only team that took games off him. So he's a decent player. I don't know how he's doing outside of Aegis.
Wait, what is Tommy doing here? Is Tommy playing in playoffs?
Is who?
What am I? What am I?
Oh no, what am I not doing here?
Oh, no, it's not.
What? Who's speaking? Who was that?
It's MTux.
What? Wait, MTux, can you say something?
Hello. How are you?
Bro, they are the same person or what? What the hell? They have the exact same voice. Wait.
Oh jeez, it's Simon with the same voice bit again. Jeez Louise.
No, I literally thought it was the time. I was so confused.
No.
Simon, I sound like sorry, yeah? I sound like sorry?
No, you don't.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, you have the same Lebanese accent, but that's
This is me, Tiwu. You know me from Tiwu. Okay, so. And the other was MTux, and then it's Hash, is the other one that.
Yeah. No, but I know everyone. It's Dr. Chekhov, I recognize. Spitz, I recognize. Taprit City, I have no clue who that is. Red, Hash. Yeah. But I legit thought that MTux was what am I? Like,
Okay. No,
it's my bad, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Who else has thoughts on this matchup? Because he's very confident going into Duck Peak.
I mean, well, to be honest, like I said, we probably take the toughest team of the way for them. I mean, not to respect to Duck, but I know Duck Peak right now. It's peaking because they were like 6-0 on collapse, and Rusticles, like Entos said, he's a good player. Quaco is also a good player, and I mean, this is our 3rd season in Aegis, and I have learned to not overlook anyone because something can happen, something strange, some accident, some whatever, lack of luck, you name it. Okay, I know Salty Simon is very confident, and he has to because the team is broken, of course. I think it's one of the top 4 teams, and not named RPG. So yeah, they might seem like it's a free win, but nothing is a gimme in this league. Yeah, it's probably not that as hard as they can thought, but games need to be played, right? And we have seen miracles happen here, and it will entertaining. Okay, yeah, I know Baja is right now in one of the most cracked players in the world, and Salty, it's also, I mean, a great player. And I mean, all the team is cracked, right? And if you look name by name, you say, yeah, I mean, this dog pig is going to get crushed in the round 1. I don't know. I hope the excitement continues in the second round and doesn't disappear in the first round with some surprise.
Okay. Anybody else have any thoughts on this, or even as the bracket as a whole, because we have all of our matchups now?
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe the question is, which side looks better, left or right?
Oh, actually, I think it's. I mean,
Depends for the competitors or for the viewers.
I think it's balanced, right? I mean, after the first round, what do you have? I mean, it's.
I think, personally, bottom right is gonna be super fun to watch.
I mean, I actually think we have the top 4 teams on both sides. That's kind of cool.
So who's the top 4 teams for you?
Me, or us, not me, sorry. Us, Red Pop Games, Bass Bros, and some random team that I don't know.
Oh, okay. So really, top 3. I think you just throw a 4th team in there somewhere.
Yeah, but I used to assume it's on the right side.
Okay.
I don't know. Like, I feel like we're the dominant top 3.
What's the log of the random team you don't know?
I assume he's
Also,
talking about mastering Runeterra, right? That's what he meant.
No. It's not ABG, it's not mastering. It can't be Big Fish because they exist twice.
So
it could be SP.
Okay, it's space
math is
focus.
kind of cracked.
Okay.
And they also like do prep. They're kind of good, ish.
Okay.
Ish. No.
Okay. MTuck, do you agree with his assessment, or?
I think I do think it's a fairly balanced bracket. I think the bottom left quadrant. Okay, I think RPG and Chip is cracked, and then I think if you were to cover them 2 up, then the right side's harder. But the fact that those 2 are like clumped right beside each other makes it really hard to figure out which side of the bracket's harder. Overall, I think it's a really balanced bracket. I think in quarters, the right side will be harder than the left side.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think we already know that for the first day, the RPG versus Chip is going to be like the match of that day, and the other side, the Mastering Runeterra against Dragon Valley, is going to be, for me, the match of the day, right? So, but looking overall, it's like maybe because RPG took Chip, it makes more balanced than the left side, and leave like the other teams like a little bit of air to breathe, and well, now I'm watching that. To be honest, I know ABG Piltover is here also, but if the winner of that match for me is going to probably reach the finals.
Okay. Yeah, I guess like the question is like we're kind of thinking in like quadrants here. For anybody here, how do we feel about like this top left quadrant? Who do you think is getting out of there? Because no one's really talked about it yet.
The what?
Well,
Wait,
No?
top left? Top left is super easy, no?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it's probably
I
just
don't
Simon's
want to
team,
bias,
right?
but-
Like, I don't want to talk about
Yeah,
him
Simon,
while he's on the
bro,
cast
Simon,
for ego, but like, it's probably just Simon's team, right?
Bro, Simon, buddy, see you in top 4, bro.
Did you mean corner?
Yeah,
What
yeah.
did you do? What were the word you said?
It's a quadrant, so it's like a fourth. So top left fourth.
Oh,
yeah, so-
please, man.
So like I guess like Temptricity. I mean, we have a lot of.
top left corner is obviously us.
Okay. So, Taptricity, since you're here, I want to hear your thoughts. Everyone kind of seems to be thinking it's BBBS, but you're the first seed. So, what are you thinking?
I mean, anything can happen. In the first season of Aegis a year ago, in the now defunct IC Gaming B, we were like at one point like considered an anomaly in the grouping. So all I can say is that, you know, you trust the process, and I can trust that maybe as ABG we will pull through and make a promise to Tibu that I want to see you in finals. Let's get the both ABGs at the end. How about that?
Okay.
Real promise.
Yeah, actually, the only thing we didn't want is to be pit in the same bracket, and we're not. So we have a chance to have an all ABG final.
It would be the based ending. The ABG
There's
ending.
But there's also no way.
No.
We don't know. I mean, we don't know. You first need to beat the top.
No, I know.
So,
No.
and we need to beat the ABG killers. So if we go through that, then it's going to be BBS against.
Wait, what is the ABG team on the right side? I don't see one. Which one is it?
The Noxus.
Noxus. Yeah, third.
Oh,
from
the
top.
triangle thing.
Yeah.
Wait, they all have triangles, I guess, guys.
Yes.
Where did that come from?
Okay.
But you didn't have that last season, right?
No, they just changed it right before the season. So I kind of want to get Spids' thought on this bracket. No one's really talking about main pirates or BFGB coming out of the bottom left. Spids, do you have any thoughts on like whether you'll get through or how it'll shake out, if there'll be upsets?
No, I think Red Pups will get to the semis.
Okay, so okay. Well, I mean, you know, brutal honesty, I guess. You know. Okay. On that, Matt. I mean, I guess my last two questions. How many upsets do we see in the first round, and then who do you want to see on broadcast this Friday?
It depends. It depends what you consider an upset, but I think there will be more upsets in top 8. Like I can see Simon's team losing to top 8 because Lear is just gonna sweep them, for example.
Who?
ABG Piltover.
Oh,
Correct.
why?
No, like I think the only way you lose to them is if Lear sweeps. I'm gonna be honest.
Oh, Leah.
Lear, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know who that is.
Okay.
I guess that's possible. Oh, Lear. Bro, you said Leah.
No, Lear.
Lear. Yeah. Okay, I got you. I know maybe Lear is.
No, Lear.
Lear like the Pokemon move.
Yes.
If I were to put a number, I would say 3.
No, that guy's pretty good.
If I could put a number, I'd say 3 upsets in round of 16.
Okay.
I could see 4, but I think 3 is a safe bet.
Okay.
I mean, if you consider the picks, like the person's picking into the odd guys losing, that's the upset. We're gonna see a lot of upsets.
Nah, dude, I can't wait for space.
Like Mashing is gonna lose to the Valley guys for sure. The SP guys are gonna beat AB Nox.
Okay.
Valley's gonna make it to the final.
Yeah, I mean, Target Side is pretty good. I feel like they're gonna beat Mastering. SP's gonna beat AB and Nox. I assume Brassbox wins. I don't know who the Tron guys are.
Monty, Donuts, Swiffer.
What?
I mean, have you looked at the spreadsheet once this season?
No,
When they tell you to play.
Bro, am I supposed to memorize it?
Simon just shows up with Echo Jinx and hits Chrono Break twice. That's what he does.
No, but like, am I supposed to memorize all the names now, or what? Yes, I looked through them when I need to, but I'm not gonna play against them until the finals.
Okay.
Why do I care?
Yeah, that's fair.
So wait, we talked a lot about Crossstorm. Were they supposed to be good? Because everyone said it was bad, but then someone said it was good. So they could be the upset, I guess.
Yeah, they came. Nobody expected them to do anything in play-ins, and they knocked out 2 ABG teams.
I think we see 4 upsets at most.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
I mean, like someone else said. I mean, what's an upset? I mean, all the 16 here are because they're the strongest teams. Yeah.
Well, we consider an upset being the person that got picked winning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No. I mean, per se, that's it. But you guys, and believe me, you're going to have a hard time with it. So good luck with that. And then in the other side, Targon Valley. Yeah, I also agree with that. It might be an upset, let's say, but I mean, they are like also strong team, so I don't think that qualifies as an upset. Okay, and yeah, I mean, Chip beating RPGs, it won't be an upset also because both of the teams are cracked and both were champions already on Aegis, so I don't think that qualifies an upset if Chips win, right? So
Right.
I think that series is going to be like I said, it's very points. Okay, so it's not a gimme for RPG. So I don't qualify that probably as an upset, but considering the positions, it will be possibly an upset. Yes, I don't know about Space Powers. Like I said, we pick a strong team, and anything can happen. But I do believe like our team right now it's peaking and it's in a good streak. And no disrespect to the team that's going to be against Pro Shop, but I think Pro Shop is going to be. I think that we're going to face Bass Pro Shops in the next stage, actually.
Okay. All right. Well, on that note, does anybody else have any thoughts before we end the show?
I'm really interested in the Duck matchup against the EU players. I think you're underestimating the Duck team. They're not individual because this focuses on individuals. I think XDS and Dusty Things can carry. So we'll see.
Okay. Yeah, I think Duck versus BBBS will be a little closer than Simon leads on, but he is confident, so.
He's like that.
I didn't say okay. Relax now. I said I was gonna win. It's no different winning 3-0 or 3-2. I'm just saying we're gonna win. I'm not saying we're gonna crush them.
No, I didn't say that. I said you were confident.
I'm just saying it's impossible for us to lose.
Oh, okay. Okay. I mean, sure.
You just said it was a free win, man. What are you talking about?
Yeah, we're gonna win freely, but it doesn't mean we have to win 3-0.
Okay.
All right. Sounds good. Well, on that note, I'm gonna end the show here. I'll be posting pick'ems later tonight, if maybe in like an hour or so. But thank you to all the guests who came on. I appreciate it. And thank you for everyone who's watching. Have a good night.